What's up, guys? Matty here, mixandmastermysong.com. I hope you're all doing well and staying safe out there in this crazy world we're in right now. This is going to be part 2 of our mastering with certain plugin series that we're doing. A couple weeks ago, we did the Plugin Alliance one. This one's going to be using just FabFilter plugins. So we'll master the same song we did a couple weeks ago, but this time with just FabFilter plugins. Shameless plug, I just actually released some mastering chain presets for FabFilter, so if you want to check them out, you can get them on the site. But without further ado, let's get started. All right, guys, so this is a song by my buddy Cam Meekins. You heard it if you watched the Plugin Alliance video. You've probably heard my boy Cam on a bunch of records if you follow my videos at all. But this is Say Something. You can check it out on Spotify. So we're going to be using the FabFilter plugins. We could start off with some of the presets I created. You can see them here. Where are they? Matty's Fab. I have basic mastering, rock and roll, face punch, all kinds of stuff. And what it does is it gives you a bunch of different presets ready to go for you to use on your master bus for demos and stuff like that. But, you know, just for learning purposes, I want to start from scratch. So we're going to start off with FabFilter Pro C. Before we get started, let me just mute that and let you guys hear the song for a few seconds, just so you can hear what it sounds like before we get going.
Lamp City. Dreaming on a million, chillin' still on the grind. Feel like these demons in my closet, they don't want me to shine. But I've been picking up the pieces, going through in my mind. They setting traps, but I'ma see how to avoid them this time. Was 16 just selling tickets, hoping people would show up. Filled out of class and never listened when they told me to grow up. Going through schemes in my head, thinking how I could blow up. To chillin' in the penthouse.
All right, so you get the idea of what's going on with it. So what I like to do on mix bus mastering or using a compressor when mastering is do this setting I got called MH mid-range. And what it does is uses the sidechain filter, and we cut out a bunch of low end and we cut out all the high end, and we're just compressing the mid-range. Now, why do we do that? Well, to me, the vocal is the most important part. I want to push this vocal out. That's what I heard in just the mix. The vocal's like good, the mix is good, but I want to give it some more energy. I want to pull the vocal more in my face so I can really concentrate on it when I'm listening to it. So by doing this, we alleviate, because a lot of times what happens when you compress a stereo track, all your low end will make the compressor react, and it won't end up compressing any mid-range or high end because low end has the most energy, which in turn triggers the compressor. So by filtering all the low end out and just compressing our mid-range, we'll compress the vocal range and it will push more in our face, but we'll still keep our nice low end that we already have. And the sizzle on top, we don't have to really worry about that because high end doesn't have all that much energy. So all that being said, I'm going to hit play and just get this set up the way I like it sounding, and then we'll take it from there.
Dreaming on a million, chillin' still on the grind. Feel like these demons in my closet, they don't want me to shine. But I've been picking up the pieces, going through in my mind. They setting traps, but I'ma see how to avoid them this time. Was 16 just selling tickets, hoping people would show up. Filled out of class and never listened when they told me to grow up. Going through schemes in my head, thinking how I could blow up. To chillin' in the penthouse, elevators we go up. Some people rather have a million than a million friends. Some people rather have a Prius than me pushing the Benz. And me, I'd rather get blunted than get drinks with some friends. I spent some time in Hollywood, but I don't be in this mess. How come a lot of dudes preach, but the role's on lease? I'm in the cold till next week, Speed Town's on freeze. And when I wonder when it's worth it, try and remember that I'm living with this purpose. Yeah. Dreaming on a million, chillin' still on the grind. Feel like these demons in my closet, they don't want me to shine. But I've been picking up the pieces, going through in my mind. They setting traps, but I'ma see how to avoid them this time. Was 16 just selling tickets, hoping people would show up. Filled out of class and never listened when they told me.
Cool, so you can see, you know, we just get a lot more energy, and this is at this lower volume, so you're actually hearing it lower than when it's bypassed, and it still sounds like, to me, more energy, more vocal, and that's what we're going for. And we'll pick up volume on our EQ and the limiter later on. So that's all set for that. Next thing we're going to pull up is the FabFilter Pro Q3, one of the best EQs ever made. I'm actually, for mastering, I switched to linear phase. It just sounds a little bit cleaner to me. And we're going to start off with just like what they call the smiley face EQ curve. Because to me, there's not a whole lot that needs to be done to this master as far as EQ, but I just want to get a little more low end, little more sizzle, and see where that gets us. So let's start off right around here, and then we'll EQ to taste as I play it.
Dreaming on a million, chillin' still on the grind. Feel like these demons in my closet, they don't want me to shine. But I've been picking up the pieces, going through in my mind. They setting traps, but I'ma see how to avoid them this time. Was 16, just selling tickets, hoping people would show up. Filled out of class and never listened when they told me to grow up. Going through schemes in my head, thinking how I could blow up.
That sounded pretty cool. What I do want to do though, and this will give us a little more width, and this is like when you guys use a stereo widening effect, this is essentially what you're doing. It's MSEQ. So we're going to switch the stereo placement on this high end shelf to mid, right? Then I'm going to create another EQ point and bring that up. We're going to switch that to a shelf as well. Oh, it's already doing it. Let's switch it to here. There we go. And bring it this way. Give myself, what's the Q here? Okay. Want to do basically the same Q and everything and same EQ, but we're going to bring it up a bit more. So we're doing like 4 dB and switch that to side. Let's actually pull this mid down to like 2. We don't want to Q too crazy here and bring this down to 4. Okay, so let's hear this now.
Dreaming on a million, chillin' still on the grind. Feel like these demons in my closet, they don't want me to shine. But I've been picking up the pieces, going through in my mind. They setting traps, but I'ma see how to avoid them this time. Was 16, just selling tickets, hoping people would show up. Filled out of class.
Cool, so if you can hear, if you're listening on headphones or even some good speakers, you hear once we switch that to a side, mid-side EQ, your hi-hats got a little bit brighter and it got a little more energy on the sides, which is cool. It just gives a little more width, makes the record feel a bit bigger, and it's always cool. Last thing, I'm just hearing a little bit of mud, and I'm gonna get this Q down. So what I like to do is sweep, and you can either go sweep it, I'll sweep 10 dB up and just sweep and find the frequency. Some people do sweep 10 dB down, and you can find where the record starts changing. That's another way to do it. I like to do it up, but whatever works for you. So let's just check this out, see if we can't find this.
Dreaming on a million, still on. Feel like these demons in my closet, they don't want me to shine. But I've been picking up the pieces, going through in my mind. They setting traps, but I'ma see how to avoid them this time. Was 16, just selling tickets, hoping people would show.
Got lucky. I was right there, right out the gate. But it's just a little bit. There's a little bit of mud around. What was it? 335. That's the thing. Like I didn't even know the frequency. You just don't look at the numbers, guys. Just sweep around till you hear what you were hearing, the thing you didn't like, and then take that out. Don't worry about the numbers. The numbers mean nothing.
Dreaming on a million, chillin' still on the grind. Demons in my closet, they don't want me to shine. But I've been picking up the pieces, going through in my mind. They setting traps, but I'ma see how to avoid them this time. Was 16, just selling.
All right, cool. So that's that for the EQ. Then we're going to throw on this de-esser, and what this is going to do, I always use this mastering high-end transient limiting preset. I usually switch sampling to 2 times. What this would do is just help some of the S's and stuff that are sliding through. Maybe the hi-hats get a little too harsh in sections, or the snare hits too harsh in sections. This will help just tighten that up a little bit, and will help the overall limiting at the end too, that it doesn't kill people's ears, especially on like Apple earbuds and stuff like that.
Dreaming on a million, chillin' still on. Demons in my closet, they don't want me to shine. But I've been picking up the pieces, going through in my mind. They setting traps, but I'ma see how to avoid them this time. Was 16, just selling tickets, hoping people would show up.
All right, cool. So let's like A-B with all 3 of these just to hear where we're at before we put a limiter on. So we're not really going to be hearing a big volume difference. We're going to be hearing what we did as far as compression EQ, the difference with that, which is always what you want to know. Louder always sounds better. So let's hear it before we put a limiter on and get this track louder.
Dreaming on a million, chillin' still on the grind. Feel like these demons in my closet, they don't want me to shine. But I've been picking up the pieces, going through in my mind. They setting traps, but I'ma see how to avoid them this time. Was 16, just selling tickets.
So it sounds really good. We pushed out that mid-range. Now the record really sounds more exciting. You can really focus on Cam when he's rapping. You're hearing all that, and it sounds really good to me. So the final stage is this going to be putting this L2 on. Switch this to 2 times and just crank this thing up. Usually hitting around -9. Everyone's all over the map with levels now. A lot of you guys hit me up like you want your master at -14, even though that means nothing. Stop worrying about the love so much. You want to have your records compete against other records. So if you're worried about the LUFs, don't, first of all. And second of all, turn off the volume like all the different, titles, Spotify have a volume thing that they bring everything down. You can turn that off, and then you hear how real records are mastered now. A/B with that, not with, it turned down 14 dB. Because if you send yours at negative 14 LUFS right now, I guarantee you're going to probably lose compared to some other records. So I like negative 9 LUFS area nowadays. It's not, all the way where we were maybe 2 years ago at like 6.5 or 7, but it's still, you can get a little more dynamics, but still you're loud. So, which is good to me.
Dreaming on a million, chilling still on the grind. Feel like these demons in my closet, they don't want me to shine. Dreaming on a million, chilling still on the grind. Feel like these demons in my closet, they don't want me to shine. But I've been picking up the pieces, going through in my mind. They setting traps, but I'ma see how to avoid them this time.
So that feels pretty good. I don't like to, that's like a little bit heavy. I like to stay at -3 as far as how much gain reduction I'm doing with limiting. If it's more than that, I'm going back to the mix, or I'm going to try to clip it a little bit or something so that I'm not limiting way harder. I'm not a big fan of limiting, much over -3. Or sometimes you could take 2 limiters and do a little bit of both. But we were lucky on this record. It sounded good. So that should be it. Hopefully that was helpful for you guys. If you got any questions, leave them in the comments below. As far as the presets, make sure to check them out. However, I do like to always say, with presets, they're a great starting point. They're a great way to learn, but I don't think they're a good thing to use if you're putting something out professionally. Have someone who knows about mastering, whether it's me or someone else. Have someone who knows about mixing, mix your song. Make sure you're putting out professional products, because, if you use some of these computer automated mastering services, they're just not as good as having an ear that's done this, that knows what the new sound is, that knows what records sound like right now. You're just going to, the better you can have a project, the better you're going to have a chance of getting a win and not taking an L. So use the presets for education, for demos and stuff, but if you're going to put a record out and if you want to win, then it's always good to get your song professionally mixed and mastered. So that's my little rant. Let me know what you guys think about everything in the comments below. I will see you soon. Later.